blame Nehru and Jinnah for the partition that happened. And some of us feel we feel that partition might have not necessarily the right thing to work out. We would have preferred the country to be a whole. Does this sentiment run among young Pakistanis?
Yes, although I think Pakistan is squarely blamed the British. I wouldn't blame our people, I would blame them actually. I would blame everywhere the British went, they created these fissures. Everywhere the British went, they broke families. Whether it's Ireland, whether it's Cyprus, between Greece and Turkey, or in South Asia, the British did this. Of course. Oh yes, of course. It's very convenient for the West to have. Imagine South Asia as one. Imagine the force that would be. So of course they are very keen to keep us separate. Of course, now I'm going to get all excited, but it's a Western idea, I think, separation. It's not an Asian idea. Because we've been living with diverse cultures and people and religions for thousands and thousands of years. And it's very useful for the West at large to have divided Middle East, divided South Asia. So I think we also have to look at the news and we have to look at how we think of each other with that lens in mind, and to know that it's imposed on us. I don't think it's felt at all.
Do you know why? Because they didn't want Wasim Akram and Sachin Tendulkar on the same team. The British were afraid of that.
Yes, we destroy them every time. I think everything does come back to cricket somehow.
Yes, Fatima, I congratulate you for your nice policy of violence is not the answer. But can non-violence be the answer for violence?
Non-violence be the answer against violence?
Yes.
Well, you are from the country of Mahatma Gandhi, so obviously the answer is yes.
But take Sri Lanka, how the violence triggered by military against the single government. Violence brings violence.
Yes, absolutely, and I think that's the point, is that even if you are treated unfairly, even if you are a minority, if it's for self-defense, even if it's for protection, violence begets violence. And in the face of violence, compassion is destroyed, empathy is destroyed, harmony is destroyed. Nothing good can come of violence. And if anybody knows that, again, it's this region, we've seen it so clearly. But non-violence is a struggle. I don't know, we sometimes have this idea that it's just passive. It's great power also, passive, isn't it?
I recommend you for Nobel Prize for
Oh,
peace.
thank you. I accept.
Would it be the answer in this scenario? Would it be the answer?
It has to be in today's. It has more than ever. It has to be in today's. It has in today's environment, especially. You need non-violence. In today's environment, where violence is just a click of a button, and it's we don't face the people we do violence against. It's on a computer screen. It's in a base somewhere else. Somebody else does the killing. You just do the what do they call it? Operating. Even now more than ever, we need to bring this principle of non-violence forward.
Question. There's somebody at the back, please. No, there's someone at the back. Just one.
My question is very simple. The civilian government is taking forward the peace process. At the same time, on the other hand, the military leadership, there are so many infiltration happening from across the border. So, do you think the peace process is the acceptance of the military leadership?
The peace process of what?
Is it the acceptance from the military leadership?
Can you repeat that? Your first point was that
the peace process by the civilian government is moving forward.
Oh, I see.
At the same time, the military leadership, there are so many infiltration happening from across the border.
Yeah.
So, do you think the peace process is with the acceptance from the military leadership?
You mean, do the military want peace? Well, you'll have to ask them. I wouldn't be a spokesperson for the military if you paid me. But people want peace. People want peace very much. And if enough people want it, and if we're prepared to struggle for it, we're prepared to keep speaking and to keep meeting each other, then I think we can overpower anything.
the new Indian English
Yeah.
women authors, and have you been inspired by them? And if so, who are they?
It's women authors. I mean, I love reading from the subcontinent. I just picked up today M and the Big Home by Jerry Pinto, which I think is a terrific book. I'm really enjoying that. And my other favorites now tend to be men. I'm trying to think. I mean, Agha Shahid Aliya is my favorite poet, also a man. Certainly Arundhati Roy's writing is very appreciated by young people everywhere, and also in Pakistan. She's very widely read. Who are the other? Kamila Shamsi, which is Pakistani. Who are the Indian women who are writing who people read these days?
No, general opinion I get is when you have strong women authors that the writing gets very personal and very women oriented. So I admire work that is a combination of political background and a woman's individual experience. So if in India actually Arundhati Roy is very famous, but if you look at the real Indian women writing, it's very like Shashi Deshpande or Kamala Das. They are extremely strong women, but it's very personalized experiences which finally I don't think they last long in the minds of, men in general. But these books in which you intervene the woman's experience with a background which is more general and political or whatever, it catches the attention of more.
I haven't read those women. I'll ask you to write down their names for me later.
I just wondered if you liked any of them.
I just got The Lowland by Jupa Lahiri. I know
she's quite
an outsider, that sort of acronymical way. But from what I've read of the book, it does what you say. It leaves these personal
it comes down to a woman, her family, her experiences, as though the rest doesn't matter. Whereas a woman's experiences does in fact depend on the external environment.
Of course, and your concepts, you're right.
Do you see yourself, now that you've got this novel out, as part of this huge journey in Pakistan, Pakistani writing novels in English? There's some fabulous stuff coming out of there, Tanya.
Yes, they're so eagerly anticipated in Pakistan. They really wait for Muhammad Hanif's novels or Nadeem Aslam's. Yes, I hope so. People keep asking me like, what is novels? And I'm saying, well, I've only written one. I don't know if I can answer this with authority. But absolutely, I'm very proud to be considered among those other writers. And I would like to focus more on fiction. Yeah, I would. I think there's something really empathetic about fiction. I think, for example, take the story of women. If you're going to talk about women or minorities and you do it in non-fiction, it can have a certain quality that people say, well, I don't want to listen to this is only one perspective. But when you tell it as a story, then people are forced to empathize with situations they wouldn't. Whereas if you just lecture people on, tolerance, for example, they're kind of wary of it. But a story that inspires them is more powerful.
Ashwin from Chennai. I'm a college student. So my question to you is two-pronged. The first one being, what is your objective out of a writing? What do you aim to achieve at the end of every book that you write? Because most of these are related to politics and security and secularism, right? So my second question being, if it is on these lines of ending violence that you spoke of, and please, I believe that you will not manipulate the first answer to evade the second. My second is, why would you not like to enter politics? Because there are many means to achieve the end of non-violence, many means to achieve the end of secularism. But the best means, the easiest means, the most sought after means, where you have all the authority, the power, the responsibility to execute what you feel right for the public is politics. As much as you say words are the power with you is only your pen. When you are in power, actually, you have the ability to make these laws to influence the bureaucrats directly and affect the public at large. Thank you.
So let me answer the first one, so it's not to evade the second. I'm not sure what the goal is. Joan Didion says that she writes to know what she thinks. And I always like that because I feel the same is true. I don't really know what's bothering me or how deeply it has gotten to me. or how disturbed I am by something until I've written it and I look back on it. And I think that's the lovely part of fiction as well, is that you can't judge, you can't manipulate, or you can't force people to think something, because then it has a tone that's almost unreadable. So you kind of have to be open and take what comes and not have the prejudices you do with fiction writing. So I write to know what I think. And the second is, I think you would make a very good politician. But in my case, I really do believe that power compromises you. And if I were to say tomorrow, okay, fine, you're right, I'll go and I'll do it, I'm one person. I'm one person, and it's a massive system. So people, I think, do, people also with the best intentions go into politics for this reason. But they find themselves compromised at every turn then. You can't say this, you can't speak to this, you can't, it takes time if and they're diminished and their values go, in my experience. But with writing, I don't have to compromise at all. I don't have to answer to anybody. I don't have to say, nobody gets to tell me it's not prudent for you to say this and you mustn't go there. So that's a freedom I really wouldn't trade in my mind. And I do think, again, there's not a lot of Pakistan coming out. Well, there's like the one image or the two images. But there's not a lot of exposure to Pakistan. And even for Pakistanis, they live in these very bubbly kind of worlds. But when you travel and you go and you speak to people, there are plenty of people, really brave, qualified people who I think would be wonderful voices in the political sphere. And those really are the voices I feel that have to come out before anyone can change anything. Until they do that, it's too suffocating.
Leave this thought with you. If some catastrophe, God forbid, overtake righteous president, please be sure that India will be the first to conquer it, not China. Chinese are, like me, very good bookkeepers. What profit they make out of the transaction. They have been consistently making now it means of every nation in Southeast Asia. Tomorrow we don't know Pakistan they will come from. Please understand that in India, Pakistan has lot more friends, lot more people with great sympathy because they have enjoyed your Karachi, Halwa, Peshawar, Soons, and also the Afghan pomegranates. They love you and your people. They will be with you. Please carry this message.
Thank you, and I agree with you. I think also, there's a group called the Pakistan India People's Peace Forum. And they, when we had the 2005 earthquake, it was through them that Pakistan sent aid to India and India sent aid to Pakistan. And they're a very small group, but I think they're quite honorable and noble. And I think they are able to do this work because what you say is true.
All right. I don't think there are any more questions. So to give this well, thank you very much, and
Thank you.
have a great time in India and a very successful role. Let's give her all a hand. Please buy her books. They really got reading.
Penguin and Lalman, I would like to thank you all for making this evening a special one. And thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for making this evening wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, you can get your copies autographed by the author. Please make sure you get the copies built before getting them signed. Thank you. We request you to please form a queue for get the copies autographed. Excuse me.